Kuzambola. I am Lindu Tukpa from the Teacher Professional Development Division at the Department of Curriculum and Professional Development. In this video, I am going to present you the National School Curriculum Framework. Through this video, you will come to understand the purpose of the National School Curriculum Framework, the background as to how this framework was conceptualized, the new approach to Bhutan's education system, the aspects of the quality of school education, the goal of school education, the core competencies, the essential learning areas, the curricular outcomes at different levels of school education, the assessment system, and finally, it will end with the enabling conditions for effective implementation of the national school curriculum. This framework was developed based on the following sources. First, the Royal Commission on Education Reform, the 21st Century Education Roadmap, the purpose of school education, the Bhutan Education Blueprint, and many other studies, the National Education Policy, the National Education Framework, and finally the outcomes of national education conferences and stakeholder consultations. The main reason for developing this framework is actually to actualize the curriculum transformation initiatives of the Royal Government of Bhutan. The purpose of this document is to provide a comprehensive and holistic education services in basic education, meaning primary education, secondary education, including special needs education. The framework outlines the vision for the school curriculum, the guiding principles for curriculum development, the core competencies to be achieved at all levels of education, the essential learning areas, derived from the competencies, the organization of learning areas, subjects, the pedagogical approaches, assessment system, and the enabling conditions that will facilitate the effective implementation of the national curriculum. This framework is expected to support the national aspiration of making our youth locally rooted and globally competent. Therefore, we want educators at all levels of education and the training institutions to anchor their provision of education services on this framework. The National School Curriculum Framework is guided by the principles of progressive education, which is focused on creating critical thinkers and inquirers who are active learners. Progressive education emphasizes on the integration of entrepreneurship into education, problem solving and critical thinking, teamwork and development of social skills, learning by understanding, collaborative and cooperative learning projects, education for social responsibility and democracy, personalized learning with differentiated instruction, integration of community service and service learning projects into the curriculum, varied learning resources, and de-emphasize on textbooks, lifelong learning and social skills, and assessment by evaluation of the child's performances through projects and productions. Therefore, the National School Curriculum will be guided by the following progressive educational approaches. First, it's the place-based education. The place-based education is an approach that connects learning and communities to increase student engagement, academic outcomes, and community impact using the place as the context for learning. It is also based on competency-based education. Competency-based education refers to a system of instruction, assessment, grading, and academic reporting based on students demonstrating that they have acquired the knowledge and skills they are expected to acquire as they progress through their school education. Finally, it is holistic education. Holistic education focuses on the development of learners' intellectual, emotional, social, physical, artistic, creative, and spiritual potentials of each child. Next, let me share with you the quality of school education. Raising the quality of school education is a matter of great national concern in Bhutan. Although the importance of quality of school education is widely discussed, there is less agreement on a comprehensive set of ideal parameters and visible indicators that can be used to measure the quality of school education. Each country has its own definition and parameters defined by its political, economic, social, environmental, and technological development. However, most definitions are in relation to quality of education in general and not quality of school education. In the Buddhist context, the quality of school education is defined through four broad parameters. First, is defined by the 18 learner capabilities or attributes. Secondly, based on the 7 core competencies. Thirdly, the curricular outcomes at different levels of school education, and support system or enabling conditions, which actually contains 11 domains and 14 quality indicators. The new curriculum is for all young people in all educational settings. It supports them in a range of ways to maximize their potential. At its heart is the aspiration that all children and young people should develop the 7 core competencies, which will ultimately contribute to achieving the 18 capabilities or learner attributes. In order to achieve the core competencies, the National School Curriculum Framework presents 6 essential learning areas. The essential learning areas are the critical values, skills, knowledge, and dispositions each student must acquire as a result of school education. These learning areas provide the substance of learning for holistic development of a child. These fields of study are broad and they lay the foundation for specialization or pathways to other learning. Each learning area provides access to new areas of knowledge and helps learners see the world from new perspectives. The essential learning areas identified in this framework are holistic, dynamic, and inclusive. Their implementation will involve active participation of all learners, schools, and communities. The essential learning outcomes are clearly stated for each essential learning area at each grade level. The teachers have the flexibility of supporting and contextualizing students' learning in a variety of ways. Each of the essential learning areas contains a broad and balanced set of components or strands introduced in the developmentally appropriate fashion. For instance, at the primary level, the social science essential learning area contains the components of history, geography, civics, and economics. At the secondary stage, the depth and details increase. The essential learning area components require a collaborative, participative, and experiential approach to teaching and learning. The range of the essential learning area content varies from the local to the global. The essential learning areas not only cater to the diverse needs of learners, but also allow for individual excellence and instill in all a sense of lifelong learning. So the following guiding principles provide the philosophical foundation for the development of the curriculum, the delivery of the curriculum, and ways of measuring and achieving them. So some of these principles, the principles are values of Tadamsi and Lejumre, the gross national happiness, inclusiveness, future-focused, dynamic, and relevant, and the curriculum should be learner-centered and developmentally appropriate. It should also provide autonomy and flexibility. The curriculum structure provides a direction for curriculum organization and a base to form a coherent connection between the key competencies, the essential learning areas, the learning expectations from each subject, and the enabling processes. Schooling is organized into different key stages based on the developmental stages of learners, their learning styles, trends in pedagogical practices, and the learning standards that learners are expected to attain by each key stage of schooling. The structure encompasses the entire school system from preschool to higher secondary education, which are highlighted below. The ECCD program, which will be from 0 to 8 years, will focus on providing opportunity for early stimulation and care of the young. And then the pre-primary, that defines in the developmentally appropriate curriculum framework, primary education will be achieved by the end of grade 6. Students who complete the national examination at grade 10 will be considered to have completed basic or general education. So at the ECCD ages from 0 to 6, the curriculum will be thematic curriculum. From PP to grade 8, that is ages 5 to 13, the curriculum will still be based on thematic curriculum. The curriculum will be diversified at the middle secondary level. The learning for this level will be categorized into 7 pathways: STEM, society and development, entrepreneurship, language, creative arts, health and well-being, and Riksum. They will have many options to select from a wide range of disciplines. Linkages will be established between the school system, the university system, and other institutions of higher learning and the workplace. The entire curriculum from pre-primary to class 12 is organized into 3 broad categories and 5 key stages with underlying principles for each. Life skills education program will be delivered across the curriculum, that is from PP to grade 12. The next is on the assessment system. Assessment in education, whether it is summative or formative, is a cornerstone of effective teaching and learning. Good assessments can provide a reliable and valid measure of a student's learning and understanding, besides helping both teachers and students on a day-to-day basis. National School Curriculum Framework assessment refers to a wide variety of methods or tools that educators use to evaluate, measure, and document the academic readiness, learning progress, skill acquisition, and educational needs of students. In the new education system, we are going to introduce competency-based assessment. The competency-based assessment is actually the process of collecting evidence and establishing conclusions on the character and scope of the learner's progress toward professional standards. So assessments are on the actual skill and knowledge the learner can demonstrate. So the competency-based assessment is criterion and evidence-based and participatory-based. The competency-based assessment can be understood in the following. The assessment for learning, these are the types of assessment. And the assessment for learning usually includes the formative assessment. Over here, learners have choices, and this is not usually used for grading. And the another type is assessment as learning is used as a learning method. Again, this is not for grading. And the last one is the assessment of learning based on summative assessment, usually used for grading and placement. So in summary, the National School Curriculum Framework is geared towards nurturing young people who are nationally rooted and globally competent. This national goal will be achieved through a carefully well-crafted, well-planned, and clear-focused education plan. At the end of the tunnel are the 18 learning capabilities or attributes, which will be achieved through the 7 core competencies. In order to achieve the 7 core competencies, the National School Curriculum Framework has identified 6 essential learning areas, which are divided into various disciplines from classes PP to 8 and further diversified into 7 pathways to allow more choices, flexibility, and mobility to the learners from classes 9 to 12.